Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to this webinar. For quick audio check, I'd request you all, uh, please comment in the chat box if I am audible. It seems that I am audible. Thank you very much for your responses. I welcome you once again. I am Nomomita, a QS professional and the co-founder of Alpha Consulting Engineers India Pvt. Limited, and today's host for you. Let me tell you, this webinar has been organized by Alpha Consulting Engineers India Pvt. Limited. We are a cost consulting firm based in Kolkata and providing our services across the globe. Many of you are well aware that Alpha Consulting is bringing webinars that is free back to back because we have a vision to contribute back to the society. We have a vision to be a part of the global QS community. And that is the reason we are committed to continuous development of construction professionals. We follow the standards of Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyor. And for that reason, we provide hand-holding supports to the construction professionals to become a members of RICS. Please have a look of our video and it will take less than a minute. Thank you very much for being with us. And I'm pretty sure by the end of this webinar, you will carry lots of information with you because we are having an excellent trainer and a great trainer with us who has trained the brains of the leading construction industry, L&T, and the other construction industry leaders. He has 2 decades of experience. He has experienced a lot of ups and downs of the construction industry since past 2 decades. So let us all experience his 2 decades of experience compressed in 1 hour in this webinar. I request you all to be attentive to the speaker and be ready with your queries for the Q&A session. We'll be having Q&A session at the end of this webinar. And I also mention you that the people will be till the end of this webinar will not miss out the case study and the real-time examples from the construction industry, and also will be able to get the CPD certificate. So let's start. And today's topic is managing construction risks in construction project, managing contractual risks in construction projects. And I am excited to hear from Mr. Rajiv Sharma. He is a corporate trainer and the founder of RK Training Solutions, which is dedicated to providing quality trainings and development to the construction professionals. His expertise area covers contracts management, commercial management, supply chain management, procurement, and tendering functions. He has served most reputed EPC MNCs, project owners, and corporate institutes such as L&T Institute of Project Management, Tata Project Limited, Dotsal Engineering Dubai, GMR Engineering Limited, and so on. Thank you very much, Mr. Raji, for this webinar, and I request you to start the program.
Thank you so much, Namamita, and thanks a lot for all this introduction. And good morning to all the participants, and welcome to this webinar. So I think we will just start, and I'll just share my screen with all of you first of all. So my request is whether this my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, yes.
Oh, it's visible. So we start. So once again, good morning to all the participants and welcome to this webinar. And in this webinar, we are going to cover these contents. And the first of all, we are going to start with significance of contractual risk management. And you keep your questions ready. At the end of the webinar, I'll take your questions also. So first of all, we know that projects are executed through contracts. And then what is a risk or what is a contractual risk? So if you see risk, it is an uncertain event or a condition that has an impact on one or more project objectives, or you can say one or more contract objectives or project objectives, and the impact of such event can be estimated by assumptions. So what is risk in simple language? Risk is a problem which not occurred yet but may occur in future. It's a possibility of suffering a loss or a gain. So risk is not always about a loss. Sometimes you could gain also. And loss means increased project cost or delayed project completion. And loss means poor quality of the final product or project failure. So if you see, there is an article published in the Economic Times on 22nd of November 2020. As per this article, 437 infrastructure projects in India. This article is about India. 437 infra project out of 1,600. They shows cost overrun of 4.37 lakhs crores. And 531 projects reported time overrun. And the average time overrun was 44 months. You can see average time overrun is 44 months. The link is there. We will share with you the link of complete study of that, the report. And then there was a survey conducted a few years before. There was a survey conducted with 24 construction projects in Western Canada. It demonstrated, as per this survey, claims contributed to 40% increase of the project cost and 48% time overrun. 48% time overrun means if the project is scheduled for 4 years, it is going to complete in 6 years. So project investigated in this study, they included civil, institutional, high-rise apartment and petrochemical, all type of projects were there. There's a link below we will share with you and you can read a complete article. Then there is another small similar things. There is one article published in International Scientific Journal called Energies. It was published in June 2018. And in this article, the author tried to identify the critical factors behind construction delays in petrochemical projects in Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And you will see this is the author's word that due to its complexity in recent years, many petrochemical projects in Saudi Arabia, they were completed behind the target date that was agreed between the owner and the contractor. And such delays, they have significant consequences for the owner also, as well as on the contractor also. So delays are detrimental for the owner also, contractor also, and subcontractors and vendors also. You can say for all stakeholders. So the author tried to identify, there's a link below. You can read the complete article. It is 25 page article. So 23 factors, author has identified 23 factors for construction delays in petrochemical projects, and 5 were the potential delay factors that are also there mentioned in the article. And then author summarized that delays in construction projects is the most common problem worldwide, and this is for all type of projects. It's a road project, rail project, petrochemical project, power plant, refinery, whatever the nature of the projects, but delay is a common problem and it is worldwide. Now team, I want to ask you one high level question. Please think from the top management level or high level, from the high level. Detailing we will do later on. There is question number 3 here. What are the most significant risk? High level risk we have to say. Construction contractors and project owners generally face while executing large construction projects? If you can share your response in the chat window, you take 1 minute and then I will look at the chat window. You have to tell me that what are the most significant risks construction contractor and project owner generally face while executing large construction projects. You think from project director's perspective or MD's perspective, high level answer. Detailing we will do later on.
Are you able to visible the replies, Mr. Rajiv Sharma?
Uh, Sorry, slide is, I just see the answer here.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
able to see the slide? Yeah. Question number 3 is there on the slide. No?
Yes.
Yeah, let me see whether participants have answered in the chat window. Yeah, I have got good answers from the team, and many of them are basically their answers are right. So thank you, team, for your very good response. Thanks a lot. And the most significant risk, if we think from the high level, they are cost overrun and time overrun. But how time over? There could be many reasons for time overrun. There could be many reasons for cost overrun. That detailing we will do later on. Now, if I ask you again a high level question, what is the root cause of time and cost overrun? Again, a high level question, not a detailed one. According to you, the time overrun happened because of this and cost overrun happened because of this. Again, 1 minute and requesting your answer, please. Let me see your answers, please. I go to the chat window. So yes, again, there are a lot of good answer I got. Thanks each one of you for this answer. So team, if we look from the high level perspective, then the major root cause of the time overrun and cost overrun is number one root cause is occurrence of a risk event, a triggering of a risk during construction. And the second most dominating reason is now risk. There are various type of risk that detailing we will do later on. But the second root cause of this is contractual disputes and claims. And you will be surprised that most of the time, the contractual disputes and claims, they also trigger because of the occurrence of risk event during construction. Because people didn't manage this risk, they didn't mitigate the risk before signing the deal or before signing the contract. So therefore, let us identify and manage potential contractual risk before signing a contract to ensure smooth project execution. Now we come to the part B of our webinar, the contractual risk management process steps. So if you see here, the contractual risks, if we talk about contractual and commercial risks, the contractual risks, they are hidden under polished English language. Because the party who is drafting the contract, sometime they want to transfer all this to the downstream to the contractor through properly worded clauses. So contractual risks are hidden under polished English language. So digging such risks, they are highly specialized job. And this must be done by experts. And contractual risk management process, it involves the following 5 steps. So first of all, this is presented from the point of view of a contractor who before signing of a deal, how he should do. But there are a lot of risk to the owner also. So that is risk management is a very big subject. That sometime we will do discuss sometime later. But at the moment, when the contractor and owner they are going to sign a contract, then before that, the contractor need to mitigate risk. So this is the process. What contractor need to do? he need to review the conditions of contract. Be maybe GCC, PCC, or whatever SCC you call, they need to review that thoroughly, deeply. And then when you are reviewing the contractual conditions, then you recognize our contractual and commercial risks hidden in those conditions. Then once you identify those risks, then you need to analyze those risks. You need to do quantitative analysis also. First, you need to do qualitative analysis. Then you need to do quantitative analysis also. So you need to analyze contractual and commercial risks, because all risks you need, some risk may be potential one. So when you analyze, you will come to know which one are the potential one and which one are the minor one. Then you are going to do a risk treatment for the potential risk. You need not to do a risk treatment for each and every risk. So then once you analyze the risk and you identify the major one, then you prepare risk mitigation plan for those risks. And then after that, you need to implement that risk mitigation plan. So this is how the process goes. And we will discuss more through examples. Now the third part is most important. But analyzing the contractual and commercial risk, all the risks you identify, let us say you identify 25 risks in this here at this level. Then after analysis, then you're going to do analysis of all 25. And then finally, you may see that after analysis, that only 10 are the potential one. So you are going to prepare risk mitigation plan only for those 10. So analysis part is most important. Let us see how to analyze and prioritize risk. If you want to analyze, then on the x-axis, basically you have to do probability and impact matrix. You have to prepare this matrix. How you prepare? On the x-axis, you have to put impact, and on the y-axis, you have to put probability of occurrence. That this risk is occurring again and again, or its probability is very low. And what is this impact? Impact means in numbers. Now you have to say the impact on project objective. How much is the impact on the cost? How much is the impact on the time? How much is the impact on the performance? Then what you need to do is impact part also, qualitative analysis. When you do qualitative analysis, then you say, like, you divide it into 5 columns: very low, low, medium, high, very high. And probability also, the probability of occurrence is low, probability of occurrence is high. So you also divide this into 5 rows: very low, low, medium, high, very high. Then you give the score as very low to 1, low to 2, medium to 3, like that. Here also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then for each risk, you find out risk score. Risk score means score of probability multiplied by score of impact. Right? Probability is also very high. Probability of occurrence of risk is very high. Impact is also very high. Then both will get 5 number. 5 into 5 become 25. Here you will see if the one score is 4, other is 5, the number will become 20. If both scores are 4, number will become 16. So this is how you identify the risk score of all risk, by multiplying the probability score and impact score. And then you will see that then you decide that when the risk score is more than 12, you are going to consider them only major one. So that only you are going to treat. You are going to have a risk response for those only. So hypothetically, I assume that I consider all the risks as a major one when a risk score is more than 12. Out of 25 risks, only 10 risks having score more than 12. So those 10 risks, after that, I'm going to do real numbers. Mean what is the actual impact of those risks on the cost, but the actual impact of those risks on the time. This is how we try to do this analysis and of the various type of risk. Now, once analyze those risks. So what are the various risk management approaches? So now what are the various risk treatment available with us today? The one risk response is called risk prevention. Other is called risk mitigation. Other is called risk transfer. Other is called risk acceptance. Risk prevention means you want to kill the risk event so that risk does not occur. Risk mitigation means you are going to reduce the impact of the event. If that event happen, impact on you is going to be less. Risk transfer mean you want somebody else to take that risk. You are transferring your risk to somebody else. Like in contracts also, owner try to transfer certain risk on the contractor. And as a contractor also, you may transfer certain risk on your subcontractor. So then the fourth one is called risk acceptance. You don't do any treatment, you accept the risk. If the event trigger, you are ready to bear the loss yourself. Now, team, one of the question I want to ask from you here is basically, what is the difference between prevention and mitigation? I already told you. Prevention means you are eliminating the risk event, and mitigation means you are trying to reduce the impact of those risk event. So now, recently we have seen the COVID phenomena, COVID era. So we now have a vaccination. So according to you, this vaccination is a risk prevention or risk mitigation for COVID? Please share your thoughts in the chat window. Vaccination you consider it as a prevention or a mitigation? I just see your response in the chat window, team. Okay, we have got a lot of good answer. Some team members are saying mitigation, some team are saying prevention. But here I am happy with your response. I don't bother about right and wrong answer. So team, as of today, the vaccination could be better called as a mitigation because it is not, if the with this vaccination, after this vaccination also, the COVID may happen, but the impact of the COVID is going to be less. Impact of the COVID going to be less if you are already vaccinated. But tomorrow, if such a vaccination is invented that COVID is not going to happen, it is making sure that COVID is not going to happen. It eliminated that risk even totally. Then it will become prevention. As of today, it is a mitigation. So, team, there are two questions on your screen. Just to because these sometimes we get confused whether what is mitigation, what is prevention, what is transfer. So therefore, I'm giving you two more examples. You please read question number 7 and question number 8 and share your thoughts, please. You say question number 7, your answer is A or B or C, whatever you want to say. Question number 8, your answer is A, B or C. You please take 1 minute and then I will see your chat window. In the question number 8, you assume you are Indian company who are constructing expressway in Oman. But you are Indian company based in India. Half minute more, team. Okay, let me see that your response. Okay. I got many answers from you, team. Thank you so much for your overwhelming response. And let me answer you now. So, team, here actually these both cases, the right answer is risk transfer. Because by paying a premium to the insurance company, Now that risk is owned by the insurance company. Tomorrow, if something happen or some during transportation some loss happened, insurance company is going to bear that loss. If this risk trigger some accident happened during transportation, then insurance company is going to bear the loss. By paying premium, you transfer the risk. And here also question number 8. Here also hedging, because the company who is now by hedging this, you transfer the risk to the company who is providing the hedging, because now you will get, for 1 Indian rupee, for one Omani currency, you will get a fixed Indian rupee. But if the currency goes up or down, that risk is now owned by hedging companies. So this is a typical example when you are feeling currency risk. So you did hedging so that you get fixed amount of rupees for every Omani real, so that tomorrow you transfer your risk to them. If the currency goes up or down, that company may have a loss also, that company may have a gain also. Now we come to the third part, team. The real examples of common contractual risk which we experience during construction project and how we can actually mitigate them. Let's go with that. So these are the few risks I have listed. There could be many more. First of all, you have to see, if you read the prime contract, read the contract between owner and the contractor, then the few risks I have listed, description or risk statement, here. So first of all, you have to see as per your contract, which risks are owned by owner or which risks are owned by the contractor. Like few examples of risk are scope changes or variation during construction. That's the risk. You know that. It can impact time also, it can impact cost also. Then change in laws and regulation during execution also, they could have impact on time and cost. Occurrence of a force majeure event. During construction, some force majeure event may happen which may delay your project. What is the risk? They are having impact on your project objectives or on your contract objectives. Then tomorrow during execution, there could be change in the cost of labor or material, like commodity price are fluctuating too much. If commodity price increases, it can impact your project objectives badly. Now, differing site condition. During construction, actual site condition may be different from what you anticipated. Then sometimes non-availability of the land. Owner is not having land, or it is taking more time. Owner is delaying the land, or ROW or ROU, right of way, right of use. That can also delay your project, and this is also a risk event. Then sometimes there are errors in the preliminary design or drawing provided by the owner. Then also this could delay the project, or time and cost overrun may happen. Then physical loss or damage to the project goods during transportation and installation. This could also happen. So there are few risks I have listed. Actually, there could be many more in the real life. So first of all, you have to see that under your contract, which risks are in the owner scope, which are owner's risk event, and which are contractor's risk event. Now I ask you one question here. Due to shortage of time, I may not be able to cover everything, but let us talk about change in cost of labor and materials. Tomorrow, if the commodity price increases, steel price increases, cement price increases, in your contract, this risk is in your scope. It is owner's risk event or it is contractor's risk event. And serial number 5 also you tell me that it is owner's risk event, or let's first talk about serial number 5. For 4 I will talk later on. Differing site condition. If the actual site conditions are different, it is owner's risk event or contractor's risk event. First, please answer serial number 5 in the chat window, and I will see the chat window in half a minute. Serial number 5, differing site condition. It is owner's risk event or contractor's risk event in your contract. 10 seconds more. Let me see. What are your answers? Okay. Some participants are saying contractor, some participants are saying owner. Okay. Okay. Fair enough, team. Thank you for that. And according to me, the right answer of this question is contractual conditions. Contractual terms and conditions are going to decide whether this is owner the risk event or contractor the risk event. If you see FIDIC red book or FIDIC yellow book, you will see that if actual site conditions appear to be different, there is a baseline geotechnical report is there. And if the actual site conditions are different, then contractor entitled for time and cost compensation. If your contractual conditions say that if the actual site conditions are different, contractor entitled for time and cost compensation, it means it is owner the risk event. But in some of the contract, owners say, I will not be responsible if actual site conditions are different. Owners say that contractor do a proper due diligence, but if the actual site conditions are different, then owner is not taking the responsibility of the geotechnical report and he is saying he's not responsible, then it means it is a contractor's risk event. So contractual conditions are going to decide. So just a small case one team, just to go a little bit deep, like how to actually do the probability and impact assessment. So you please read this small case in 2 minutes, and then there are two questions downstream that you please share your thoughts in the chat window. You see, you assume you are a contractor and I am the owner. And being a owner, I drafted this condition to you during tendering stage. So now you are evaluating this, before bidding, you want to assess the risk. So this is a condition you are evaluating. So you tell me what are the risks you anticipate here in this clause, which I have drafted as owner. As owner, I want to protect myself and I want to transfer most of the risk on you. I'll give you 2 more minutes to read it. And then there are two questions, whether you perceive any issue or commercial risk in the above clause. And if yes, what are those risks and how you propose to mitigate them? You assume you are contractor and I am owner. So team, if somebody of you want to unmute and say something, most welcome. What are the risks you foresee in these conditions, which you want to mitigate, before signing contract? Let me see your chat window in half minute. First, let me see your chat window.
I request the participants to raise your hands if you want to reply the answer or share your views on this. Mohammed Rafiz. Yeah, I will allow you.
Yeah, please, please. So, Nomamita, you need to give them right for presentation, right?
Yes,
Only
yes,
then.
I'm giving.
Okay, then I will follow the previous route only. Yeah, this time we can. Okay. So,
Mr. Amit, can you please share your thoughts?
Yeah, I think here the LD clauses clearly specifies what will be the LD, but there is we can put a alternate clause against the scope change limit. Then the scope changes should also be limited to the original BOQ. It should not happen that the original BOQ is X and the final BOQ what we execute is 2 times the BOQ of the original.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that mitigation measure can be put. And also, as mentioned in the question, this project is for of a national importance. So it seems that it will involve a large number of stakeholders. So identification of the stakeholders and then their management will be a risk. So we need to have some very specialized people in our team who are experienced in managing such tasks.
Yeah, Amit, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. A lot of team members are raising questions, but because I have to cover many slides, I was not knowing that Nomita have to give you presentation rights. So we will chat window philosophy, the best philosophy, and
If
yeah,
we can take one more like one more participant's view
one more
if you
participant.
want.
True, true,
Yes,
true.
yes, yes.
Please. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Anvis Gopinath. Mr. Anvis Gopinath, can you please share your thoughts? Anvish? Anvin, Mr. Anvin Gopinath. Can you hear me? Are you there with me?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, as a contractor, contractor cannot accept this clause because in case of delay, only LDs shall be the only damages applicable. This is in as per FIDIC. So and also the percentages of the LDs will depend upon the contract price. If the contractor, so the contractor has to agree on that 1% contract price. Yeah, I think that is the major risk there.
Excellent. First of all, excellent point from your side. So you know that this contractual condition is putting a lot of risk on you because LD should be the sole
Yeah,
remedy.
yeah, exactly.
So this point I wanted to emphasize, and 2, 3 more point I wanted to emphasize to you. Thanks to both of you. Now let us you please give the presentation more to me. I'll explain them that in one clause there are how many risks. Okay, okay, yeah. So my slide is visible.
Yes,
Okay.
the slide is visible.
Okay, so here in this small clause, you will see, first of all, this statement that this project being of national importance, LD is not the sole remedy. It's a wrong statement. As per law, as per Indian Contract Act, and not only FIDIC, as per Indian Contract Act also, I delay your project. This is one breach, and I am paying you LD that compensate that breach. So you can't say to me that LD is not the sole remedy. LD is the sole remedy. So another point is that here, if you see the statement, in the event, you see how the risks are hidden under polished English language. In the event, completion of work got delayed, owner shall levy LD. Completion of work can got delayed due to n number of reasons. Sometimes due to owner also, sometimes due to natural calamities also. So I will tell the owner, if I am the contractor, you are the owner, I will tell that this clause should be deleted. I will not accept it. And then you add, in the event completion of work got delayed, then I will say you add these words solely due to reason attributable to the contractor. Then owner can levy LD. So I will tell the owner that please add this word. If the completion of work got delayed solely due to reason attributed to the contractor, then you can levy LD on me. And third thing, I tell the owner that 1% LD is a huge LD because in 10 weeks, LD will touch its maximum. If I delay the project by 10 weeks, 10 week means 2.5 months. In 54-month project, my all 10% money is gone. It means even this is my total profit. So but the probability, now here you see the probability of the project, you can delay the project by 2.5 months is very high. You are not God, you are a human being. 54 months and 2.5 months is only 4%, 5% of the total duration. I will tell the owner that I should get at least 6 months time for LD to touch its maximum. Your LD is very high. There is high probability that LD could be levied on me. So either you reduce this LD percentage, let's say 0.3%, 0.4%, or if you don't reduce it, I will add some contingency to mitigate the risk. So risks are also mitigated through contingencies. Now, as my friend has said, payment of LD must be sole remedy for delay. LD could be levied only if delay is solely attributable to the reason attributable to the contractor. Then LD should be a genuine pre-estimate of the loss suffered. It should not be in the form of a penalty. Then if it is proved that tomorrow that LD is not a genuine pre-estimate of the loss suffered, that is, it means that LD is in the form of a penalty, then court may refuse to enforce it. Because most of the countries, as per law, owner can charge liquidated damages, but he cannot levy penalty on you. So now this another small thing I wanted to highlight to you. You plus read this defect liability clause. Take 2 minutes and read it and tell me what are the commercial risks you foresee here. Today I am presenting this from contractor's perspective. If tomorrow I have to present from owner's perspective, I can tell many risks to the owner also. Time is short, so let us focus from contractor's perspective at the moment. Please take 2 minutes for reading and then we will discuss. You share your thoughts in the chat window only. What are the risks you foresee here in this clause? You have to read serial number 1, 2, 3 only. One minute more. Now, team, in 10 seconds, I'll see your chat window. I have got very good reply from many participants, and very nice reply I got. And some of the participants have clearly said that this is unlimited liability. This is endless liability. So we know that as per contract, as per law, the liabilities of a party should be limited. So this is a case for unlimited liability. Why it's unlimited liability? I explained to you because here, if during the defect liability period any defect found in design, engineering, material and workmanship of the plant supplied or work executed by the contractor shall promptly repair and replace, no problem here. The defect liability period of such repaired and replaced part shall further extend for 2 years from the date of repair. So initial defect liability period, let's say 1 year or 2 years. Within that you repair something in next after 1.5 years, then for that further 2 years, and during further 2 years you further do some repair, then further 2 years. This is called endless liabilities, unlimited liabilities. So this is a big risk if this liabilities goes unlimited. So please check that there is a sunset clause is there in your contract. If you see any international contract like FIDIC or World Bank or Asian Development Bank, you will see a sunset clause that saying notwithstanding anything, the overall defect liability period shall not extend beyond this date. Sometimes they are saying 4 years from the date of taking over certificate. Initial 2 years is fine, something extending 2 years is fine, but there is a cap that in no circumstances defect liability period of the contractor is extending beyond this date. That is called sunset date. And in some contracts you will see defect liability period for the latent defects also, which are inherent design defects also. And another point, there should be some exclusions, because exclusions from warranty obligations. What are those exclusions? That warranty obligation does not apply for normal wear and tear, because when something is being used, normal wear and tear is going to happen. Another example is that the contract should say that warranty obligation of the contractor does not apply. Contractor is not responsible for warranty obligation if owner is operating that beyond design parameters or operating that beyond, and operating the plant with inexperienced operators. So actually there should be a proper, clauses in the contract. Then we come to the point of, this part. So this is also a small case. You please take 3-4 minutes. So, and then you please discuss. Then we will discuss that. But before that, team, we also in some contracts, there is a, liquidated damage for performance shortfall also. Have you seen this type of situation? That warranty, LD for performance shortfall. At least for process plant, this is there. Can somebody say that, performance shortfall LD is also there in your contract? Before going to next part, I want to answer this question because, LD for performance shortfall is also very common in refineries, oil and gas project and power plant projects. Let me see the answer in chat window. Oh, no, I right. Khaled is right. This is not in building construction. Construction project, this will not be there. This will be only there in, oil and gas plant or refineries or petrochemical plant or power plant. Like in power plant, there is a granted parameter, like turbine efficiency is a granted parameters. And transformer efficiency could be, the power plant output could be a granted parameter. And I was doing one oil and gas, I was working for an oil and gas project in Dubai, The project was owned by Kuwait Oil Company. And it was basically, it was the plant capacity was, I remember it was around 1 lakh barrels of oil per day. But if the actual plant capacity is low, it was EPC contract. If the actual plant capacity is lower than that, then the owner was having a right to levy LD. Let's say instead of 1 lakh, it is 99,000 per day barrels of oil per day. Then there was a provision for LD for that performance shortfall. That then this is also a very big risk which you need to thoroughly analyze. You need to properly assess because how much confidence you have on granted parameters. You need to quote the granted parameter very carefully and make sure that you are confident that you are able to meet those parameters. This is one thing. And second thing is that as a contractor, as a EPC contractor, you may not be buying certain core equipment yourself. You may be getting it from your vendors. Then back-to-back conditions you need to transfer on your vendors. Like if you are procuring turbine from some vendor, then whatever is that LD for shortfall, performance shortfall on turbine, that you transfer on the turbine manufacturers. So this is also a way of mitigating such type of risk. So then you can tell the owner that if, let us say if there is a shortfall is there, then you should get an opportunity to remedy that defect. Owner should give you one opportunity that you can do some proper, changes there and you can meet the granted parameters. And also what result you have to produce, through which test you have to prove the granted parameters, that should also be clearly mentioned. So now team, we come to the last part of our this particular thing, the small case. Please go through that and take 3-4 minutes in reading it and then share your thoughts with me. Team, 1 minute more for your study. And then first question you have to answer, given the option, what would you prefer? You want firm and owner want that, okay, he want firm and fixed price. But if you have been given the option, then what would you prefer? You prefer firm and fixed price or you prefer price variation formula? What are your thoughts on the question number 1? Okay, most of the team has mentioned PV formula. PV formula, very good. So somebody has said firm and fixed price contract also. Fair enough. Thanks to everyone who has responded. So team, first of all, most of you have mentioned you want price variation formula. This is a right approach because uh, because price variation formula will give you actual escalation, actual price variation. If not 100%, then to great extent it is covering the risk of tomorrow increase of price of your raw materials, increase of price of commodities, and something like that. But if you don't get price variation formula, then you are going to add some contingency, and then the contingency may be right or wrong. You can add contingency at higher side, you can add contingency at lower side. So that is not the right approach. The right approach is PG price variation formula, a carefully constructed PV formula, so that you get the actual escalation as it's going to happen. Because sometimes you can add very low contingency, and recently the price of commodity is increasing, very fluctuating too much. Now, second question is, how about you mitigate the risk of change of cost of labor and materials over time? Now, owner want firm and fixed price only. Owner is not accepting your price variation formula. So then, how you will mitigate the risk? You will mitigate the risk through contingency. You have to add contingency for, you have to add contingency for tomorrow if the price goes, up for those commodities. Now the question is, how to build right contingency? Team, anybody can tell me that how you build right contingency? Because if you hypothetically say, oh, 5% per year increase, 7% per year increase, so that is one method, but that is very vague and very vague method. So now, okay, before we talk, first of all, what is your answer of question number 4? Let us say, owner agree PV formula. Will it mitigate the risk fully? Do you think it will mitigate your risk fully if price variation formula owner agree? What do you think? Yes or no? Only answering yes or no. If contract allow owner agree price variation formula, do you think it fully mitigate the risk? Let me see your answer. No, no is the right answer because it does not mitigate the risk fully. Agree with you. It mitigates the risk to some extent only. And now my question from you is, question number 3 is, how you will build a contingency? How you will come to right number in rupees or in dollars? The contingency amount is this much for price variation. How you will calculate that amount? Let me see your thoughts in chat window. Okay, based on good analysis, contingency plan, fair enough. I got 2 responses. Depend upon the inflation going as per history, studying the price indices at trend. Excellent, excellent. Where you're very right, very close to the right approach. But I want to emphasize one point here is that if you want to build a right contingency, first of all, you need to build a right formula yourself. The right price variation formula you have to build. And right, because our price variation formula is not right, that is why even price variation formulas are not mitigating risk, unfortunately. So how to build a right price variation formula? If you want to build a right price variation formula, you need 3 components. What are those components? These are the inputs. You need these inputs to build the price variation formula. You need cost component. Cost component mean what are the major element? What is your cost structure? Cost structure means what are your major element which build up your total cost. And then second input is you need component weightage. So what is the percentage share or percentage contribution of each individual component in the total cost? And then third input you require is sources of indices. So you need the name of the institution which are authorized by the government of India or maybe government of other countries to publish labor and material indices. So when I was awarding a civil works contract, large civil works contracts, I was finding contractors. As the owner, I decided that I will give price variation formula. They don't load any contingency. Based on the actual escalation, they should get the price variation. And sometimes price variation can go down also, and as the owner, I may benefit. Now, my cost component for civil works was, these are the cost component I calculated. You please go with the concept, not with the numbers. That labor is labor component, cement, steel, high-speed diesel, machinery, and non-adjustable. I mean 15% component I kept non-adjustable because I want to give price variation to the contractor on his cost, not on his profit, not on his contingencies. So then these were the component weightages I calculated. That, for example, labor weightage is 20%, cement weightage is 18%, steel weightage is 12%, diesel is 20%, machinery is 15%, and non-industrial 15%. So sum total of all this is going to be 100%. So these are the sources of indices I used for Labor Bureau, Ministry of Labor, Government of India. For labor indices, Labor Bureau is there, and for all material indices, Office of the Economic Advisor, Ministry of Commerce, Government of India is there. So in every country, you will see the authorities who are publishing the indices. So with these three inputs, I will be able to build a right price variation formula. And now, if I have to calculate price variation in the next 4 years, I will go back 4 years. I will see last 4-year trend to forecast future 4-year trend. It may not give me 100% accurate, but at least it's a calculation method which will be, proved through data. So then I will take the indices for all those things from the past 4 years, and I fill these things in the formula, and then I calculate the exact number. I calculate the exact number through the scientific formula, and that number with little plus minus adjustment I will use for building my contingency. That contingency is going to be little better rather than a guesswork. Now, for example, similar thing for supply of mechanical and electrical plant. Again, I build formula. But one thing I can tell you, for civil works contract, my contractor told me that there was some variation in the component weightage. So they shared their thoughts, and then it was mutually agreed. Now, for supply of mechanical and electrical plant, these could be the component. So for every work, every type of contract, based on the nature of the job you are doing, based on the component involved, you have to build price variation formula every time separately. One formula will not work for other situation. Like for supply of mechanical and electrical plant, I find that labor portion could be 35% because these are the manufactured goods. In manufacturing, labor is a major component. Then steel plates is the major raw material, say 35% for example. Copper for electrical is another, say 15%, and non-adjustable 15%. And there was another contract for installation of mechanical and electrical plant. For installation job, labor is the major component, say 60%. Fuel is another major component, say 20%, and I kept non-adjustable as 20%. So for every type of contract I wanted to award, I actually build the price variation formula. So this is the better method of calculating contingency if you want to do for your project. Even with your vendors, you want to procure cable, you want to procure pipe, then also by building proper formula, you can forecast material price escalation going forward better. Team, now these are the learning outcome of this webinar. In this webinar, I feel that participant could have learned the following. These are few learnings that we understood that most of the problems of time and cost overrun in construction projects are associated with unmanaged risk. And they're associated with inadequate pre-bid risk assessment. During tender stage, we don't do proper risk assessment. If we do proper pre-bid risk assessment before bidding, then it's better. This is what we have learned. Now here, participant got better understanding of sequential step of risk management process and learned various approaches for treating these risks, like mitigation, prevention, we all learned that, transfer. And the third point is that through various examples of contractual risk, which we have, I given you a few examples like LD, like defect liability, like price variation. Through various example of contractual risk, participants enhance their skill of recognizing potential contractual risk that are existing, that are prevailing in conditions of contract. And you have learned how to mitigate them before signing a deal. With this, the presentation part is over, team. Now I can take your questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rajiv Sharma, for your wonderful delivery. And I am also thankful to the participants because of their actively participations. And I guess participants are ready with their questions. But before that, I would like to have some poll. Please reply to the poll that is visible on your screen, and it is also available in chat box. Please respond to the second poll. And please rate us your experience. Please respond to the last poll. Thank you very much for your valuable feedbacks. I think we can jump onto the question and answer session. You can write on the chat box. If you have queries, please write in the chat box.
There is one question from Amit. Can you please quote any instance of contractor insolvency and how it was managed and clause referred in the contract? So Amit, thank you for your question. And rightly or wrongly, because I haven't experienced much into when the contractor gone insolvent. And one example I have experienced when we came to know about the contractor's insolvency, before awarding. So actually, when we have awarded contract to somebody and it went insolvent, I have not experienced in my professional life. Maybe the selection process was very stringent and financial analysis, deep financial analysis of 5 years track record of finances that was there. Uh, Fortunately, that has not happened. But when the contractor is technically very sound and its financial position is not so good, that cases I have seen where some separate account was maintained as a owner by me, and where the payment made to the contractor, he was financially supported, so that payment could be used by him only for that particular project. So that particular things I have experienced, and many times when we through financial analysis we came to know that it's a risk. It's a financially high risk company, so the contract was not awarded or just withdrawn before award.
Sorry for the interruption. Mr. Sharma, can you please turn on the camera?
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So that's there, and then next question is okay, presentation. Okay, that thing. Okay, then okay. Okay, I have not seen. Okay, there is one question. Could you please explain whether this webinar recording looks like okay? This is fine. I would like to discuss on liability on the client or on the contractor when this is 0% of the work is de-scoped from the yes second. Yeah, there is one good question from Sridhar. I would like to discuss on liability on client or on contractor when there is 0% of the work is de-scoped from the original. Just hold on, see more. Let me see. When there is 0% of the work is de-scoped from the original scope. Are you talking, Sridhar, can be, so are you asking about when we say the limitation, if you see limitation of liability clause, then you say 0% of the work is de-scoped, nothing is de-scoped, then it means his liability is basically, overall liability will be decided under the limitation of liability clause, which is sometimes 100% of the contract price. So there are some, exclusions also from the limitation of liability. So if you can talk, I think question is not very clear. If you can talk to me, I can answer better. Sirdhar, possible, Namamita? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Even they can email us and or can email you too.
Yeah, yeah. At the moment, because we don't have a. Okay, let me. When you are able to connect him, then I will be able to answer him better. Or
Yes.
second is Sridhar, you please, Namamita will share. You can approach her. I will be
Sure.
answering your question. You can get my number also from her. No problem.
Yes.
And
Yes.
anything you can talk to me, and we will discuss, and I will explain to your. Because at the moment it is not clear. The answer will come to my mind is the, for example, contract is clearly defining what are the contractor's liabilities. A limitation of liability clause is also there. Liability for delay damages, liability for performance shortfall, defect liabilities, all clauses are there. When 0% of the work is de-scoped from original scope, then all liabilities remain as it is.
Sir, many people are raising their hands. So can we allow one or two cases like
Yeah, we will. Just let me finish first the chat box. Khalid has asked this question: risk to be managed by the best party who can mitigate the risk. It can be contractor or client or supply chain. Just a second. Can you please give brief information on this? Great. So Khalid, your question is very good because normally all the international best practices say that the risk should be allocated to that agency who can manage the risk better. So basically, I give you a typical example of differing site conditions. So differing site condition risk, it could be better managed by the owner. It should be owner's risk event because owner is having that project with him long before, and contractor is only coming to the picture when owner is inviting the tender. When owner is inviting the tender. So So basically, you get only 2 months time to submit a tender. So during this 2 month or 3 month time, you cannot investigate owner's site thoroughly. As a contractor, you can't do geotechnical investigation in such a detail. So sometime owners say, "Oh, I don't take the ownership of the geotechnical report." So owner has to take the responsibility because contractor cannot take detailed analysis there. So better this risk should be allocated to the owner because owner can do thorough investigation of his entire site before inviting bids. This is one example. Secondly, when you talk about vendor, let's say you are procuring certain things from your vendors, and your vendor could be a manufacturer. Like he's manufacturing pressure vessels, he's a manufacturing some mechanical equipment. So he is far better knowledgeable in his business. Even he know how to mitigate his price variation risk. So what is the trend? What are the raw material he is using? On which raw material his price is based? So your vendor, a reputed manufacturer, can manage this risk better for his products rather than you are managing it or owner is managing it. So we need to see who is more expert in the particular area because price variation you need to do a proper cost structure. You don't know what is the cost structure of your cable manufacturer. The cable manufacturer know that what is cost structure. So the price variation formula you design, it may be wrong. It may not reflect his true input cost. So that is better that your vendor is either taking this risk or he is giving you price variation formula. Two examples I have given you. More example, there are many examples. You please write me a mail. We will talk more. If lump sum contract, is it possible to pay client if increase the quantities of item contracted? Okay. Santosh has asked this question. In lump sum contracts, is it possible to pay client if increase the quantities of item contracted? Again, this question is not very clear because if this is a lump sum contract, so if there is an increase in the quantities, then based on that quantities, it's the price, it's the variation. For lump sum contract mean for a particular scope, you are having a aggregate price. But that price is for the aggregate scope. If tomorrow the quantity increases, this is a variation. So as a contractor, you are entitled for time and cost compensation. I have not understood that why we should pay to the owner, to the client. So more information can be shared when you approach me separately. There is a PV formula in FIDIC GCC, but are we contractor allowed to modify the formula during bidding? So, Sushil, if you ask me, the PV formula in the FIDIC is, it's basically what I should say. You will not find numbers. You have to invent many number yourself. And so therefore, if the owner is giving you formula, then owner is deciding sometime that what is the percentage share, what the weightage of each component, what are those components, owner is going to decide. So you are normally not allowed to change, but during bidding, you thoroughly review that PV formula, that whether it truly reflect your cost structure or not. If it is not reflecting your cost structure, like owner is giving you like labor component is 15%. But in your business, your labor component is 25%. It means the formula is not reflecting the true facts. So then, to the extent formula is not reflecting that, you need to add little contingency there. Normally, some good owners, when I was the owner, I was inviting, lot of comments to have a right formula. You should be allowed, you should be allowed to modify it. I had allowed in my tenure, but if owner is not allowing it, then you please add some contingency to cover the gap. And then suppose instead of LD, some certain LDs are included in the condition of contract. Will there be a difference? Just a second. Suppose instead of LD, some certain LDs are included in the condition of contract. Will there be any difference while levying such damages? Can you apply argue that such damages are genuine? Instead of some a certain LD. If you see a certain LD, what I understood from your this thing is that a certain LD means the numbers are there. The numbers are there that LD will be this much, let's say 0.3%, 0.4% per day of delay, or let's say 0.34% per week of delay, something like that. Number are there. As if you see as per the international practices of all the law, the owner, if owner has specified the LD number there for delay, then owner has all the right to claim that LD from you. So I think again, further information you can specify. We can talk one to one because matter is not very clear. It's a very deep subject. So according to me, more information is required. So I think Nomita, a few more questions are there. Can I continue to take, or we will reply subsequently them?
Yeah, we can reply later because we are running out of time. Or we can like they can drop email, or they can also connect to you directly through LinkedIn. So and this session will also be available in our YouTube channel. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough, no problem. So they can approach me, and because they need to do little more information in the shortage of time. Also, they could not,
Yes.
write everything. So
Yes.
I will reply them in detail
Yes,
later on.
it is the since it's a vast subject, and no one time limitation is there, and we are very sorry for that. But surely you will request all the participants to write email to us, so that we can reply to you all of your queries. And I think participants are happy with the answers you have well explained, and thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure, and I'm thankful to you and Nomita, you and your entire company for this opportunity, and to that I am able to interact with so many good participants. And participant, thanks to each one of you. Your response was very, very proactive. Immediately you replied in the chat window. So I really enjoyed interacting with you. Thank you so much also for that. And have a nice day, all of you.
Yes, I would request all the participants to stay connected through our LinkedIn page for regular updates, and please visit our YouTube channels and give us feedbacks so that we can come up with many more webinars for you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thanks everyone. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day.